Have you ever stopped to think that sometimes what we believe is helping our health might actually be making the problem worse? Well, when it comes to recurrent urinary infections, many people are making a silent mistake without even realizing it. Today, I need to open your eyes to something that can completely change the way you see your own urinary health. There is a vitamin, considered harmless by many, that could actually be one of the biggest saboteurs of your bladder. That's right. Something you might consume every single day, believing you're taking care of your body, could be leaving your bladder more vulnerable and fueling the return of that unbearable burning pain when urinating, the pressure in the lower abdomen, and that constant urge to rush to the bathroom. I know how exhausting it is to live with that feeling. You treat it. You feel better for a few days, but soon the urinary infection is back, as if it's laughing at you. It's a cycle that drains not only the body, but also the mind. And here's my warning. Very often the problem isn't just the bacteria or the treatment, but a detail almost no one talks about. A detail that can transform your urine into an even more favorable environment for bacteria to multiply. That's why, if you suffer from burning when urinating, pain, discomfort, cloudy urine, blood, or that uncontrollable urgency, I need you to stay with me until the end. Because in this video, I'll show you what this vitamin is, why it may be harming your bladder, and most importantly, what you can do to finally protect yourself. This is no exaggeration. Understanding this point could be the difference between staying trapped in this cycle of infections or finally regaining peace and freedom in your daily life. Before I continue, let me ask you something very important. If you're not subscribed to this channel yet, click the subscribe button right now. We're aiming to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your subscription makes all the difference, so this content can reach more people who also suffer from urinary infections. And more. I need at least 100 comments on this video so that YouTube understands this topic is urgent and delivers it to those who really need it. So help me here. Comment right below, I want to get rid of urinary infection, because besides strengthening this community, you'll also be declaring your intention to beat this problem once and for all. Now, let's get straight to the point. Have you noticed how recurrent urinary infection feels like a trap with no way out? You follow the treatment, take the antibiotics, feel better for a few days, but soon the pain, the burning, and that urgency to rush to the bathroom come back as if they never left. This doesn't just happen to you. Thousands of people are facing this exact same exhausting cycle. The worst part is that when the infection comes back, it brings fear and insecurity along with it. Did the treatment fail? Is my body becoming resistant? Am I going to have to live with this forever? These are the questions that torment those who suffer. And I know how hard it is to deal with the anxiety a simple trip to the bathroom can cause. And this is exactly where I want you to pay attention. Because there is one detail, often ignored, that may be weakening your urinary health and creating the perfect setting for the bacteria to come back stronger than ever. This is the detail we'll talk about in a moment. But first you need to understand that recurrent infection is not just bad luck or genetics. There's a logical explanation and a way to break this cycle. When we talk about health, one of the first things that comes to mind is vitamins. It's automatic. Everyone believes taking vitamins is always good, that they only bring benefits and never problem. After all, who would ever suspect a capsule that promises to strengthen the body, boost immunity, and even increase energy? But here's the point. Almost no one says out loud, not all. Vitamins are harmless when it comes to urinary infection. There's one in particular that, instead of protecting, could actually be weakening your bladder and creating the ideal environment for bacteria to return. And this is where the most common mistake lies. Many people, tired of suffering from burning, pain when urinating, and that pressure in the lower abdomen, decide to invest heavily in supplements and vitamins. And I get it, because it seems logical to think, if my body is weak, I'll boost my defenses. But what no one tells you is that the excess or even the improper intake of this specific vitamin can make your urine too acidic, irritate the urinary tract, and make it easier for the infections to come back. It's as if, without realizing, you were feeding the very problem you're trying to fight. This is the kind of situation that would make anyone upset. Because you spend money, you believe you're taking care of your urinary health, but in reality, you're giving more ammunition to the bacteria to attack again. It's a detail overlooked even by many in the health field, but it could be the key to understanding why your recurrent urinary infection insists on not leaving you alone. That's why I say, don't fall into the trap of thinking all vitamins are always good. In the next part, I'll show you exactly how your body, and especially your bladder, reacts to this vitamin in excess. And that's when you'll understand why it can be a real villain disguised as a friend of health. Now that you know there's a vitamin that can turn into a villain, let's talk about what really happens inside your body when you take too much of it. What few people know is that this vitamin can alter the composition of your urine. It makes the environment more acidic, and in some situations, this can irritate the bladder lining. This irritation weakens the natural defenses of the urinary tract and opens the door for bacteria to settle again. In other words, instead of protecting, it can become the perfect fuel for the infection to return. And it doesn't stop there. When the bladder is constantly irritated, symptoms appear more quickly and more intensely. Pain, burning, urgency to run to the bathroom, all of this becomes more frequent. What should be a healthy nutrient, in practice, creates a cycle of inflammation and fragility. And since most people believe vitamins can never harm, this detail goes unnoticed, and the problem keeps repeating itself without anyone suspecting the real cause. It's as if your bladder were always on red alert, trying to defend itself, but without enough strength. The body sends signal: discomfort in the lower abdomen, cloudy urine, the feeling of incomplete emptying. And often, instead of questioning whether this vitamin might be involved, the person increases the dose even more, believing they're boosting their immunity. This is the mistake that keeps thousands of people trapped in an endless cycle of recurrent urinary infection. The truth is simple. What happens inside your bladder doesn't depend only on bacteria, but also on how you nourish your body and regulate the nutrients you consume. When we talk about urinary infection, many people think only about bacteria. Oh, a bacterium entered the bladder, and that's it. I'm sick. But reality isn't that simple. What determines whether that bacterium will cause a crisis or not is your immunity, both general and local, which specifically protects the urinary tract. And this is where it gets complicated. If your natural defense is weakened, even the smallest invasion becomes a nightmare. Think with me. There are people who come into contact with the same bacteria but don't develop an infection. Why? Because their immunity is working like a shield, protecting the bladder against those attacks. Now, if your immunity is low, and this is where the problem of excessive consumption of that vitamin we mentioned earlier comes in, that shield loses its strength. The bladder becomes vulnerable, irritated, and the bacteria find fertile ground to multiply. It's like having a protective wall. If that wall is intact, no bacteria can get through. But if there are cracks and gaps, invasion is only a matter of time. And with each new crisis, the body gets more tired, the bladder more sensitive, and your confidence more shaken. It's not just physical, it's emotional too. Living in fear of pain when urinating, of needing to go to the bathroom every 10 minutes, of having another interrupted night. This ruins anyone's quality of life. That's why understanding the role of immunity is fundamental. It's not enough to just fight the bacteria with antibiotics, because they'll always find a way to come back if the terrain stays favorable. The secret is to strengthen your natural defense, preventing the bacteria from having a chance to settle. You may be thinking, isn't this all an exaggeration? Can a simple vitamin really make my urinary infections worse? And this doubt is totally valid. But the truth is that science has been drawing attention to this point for years. Several clinical studies show that when consumed in excess, this vitamin can alter the balance of the urine and irritate the bladder wall. This inflammatory process makes the environment perfect for bacteria to multiply and come back stronger. Researchers have observed, for example, that patients who took high-dose supplements had a greater risk of recurrent urinary infections. That's because their urine became more acidic and the urinary tract lining more sensitive. It's as if the bladder, instead of being protected, was constantly wounded, opening the way for a new crisis. And the most concerning part is that many of these patients didn't even suspect that the problem came from what they believed was healthy. In clinical practice, doctors also report that it's common to find people who've suffered for years with recurrent urinary infection, without realizing that part of their vulnerability is tied to the improper use of this vitamin. And this isn't something rare or unlikely. It could be happening to you or someone in your family right now. And it's important to stress, this isn't about demonizing vitamins. They are fundamental for health, but they need to be used in the right measure, with guidance and balance. The problem begins when someone takes them on their own, in high doses, believing that the more, the better. Science shows exactly the opposite. Excess can become poison, especially when we're talking about urinary health. Many people believe only a doctor can notice when there's too much vitamin in the body. But the truth is that your body speaks, and speaks loudly. It gives clear signs that something is off. And when it comes to this particular vitamin that can harm your urinary health, symptoms start to appear in ways many people confuse with being normal. The first sign is a change in urine. It can become more acidic, with a stronger odor, and even cause that burning sensation when urinating, even without an active infection. Another clue is frequency. You feel like you constantly need to rush to the bathroom, but when you get there, you only release small amounts. It's as if the bladder were irritated, sending urgent messages without actually being full. In some cases, the urine may become cloudy, change color, or even contain small traces of blood. These are red flag signs that your bladder lining is being irritated. In addition, symptoms like pain in the lower abdomen, constant pelvic discomfort, and even a sensation of internal pressure may indicate that the bladder is overloaded. And you know what's most common? Many people think these symptoms just mean the urinary infection is back. So they run to antibiotics, go through another cycle of treatment, but don't realize the real cause lies in the excessive consumption of this vitamin. It's a silent cycle that keeps the person trapped in recurring crises. That's why, if you recognize any of these signs in your daily life, don't ignore them. The body is showing that the balance has tipped. What should help has gone too far and is doing more harm than good. You may now be wondering, what if I've already been taking this vitamin every day? Should I stop immediately? This is a very common doubt, and the first thing I need to say is, calm down. Just because this vitamin can harm urinary health in excess doesn't mean you should cut it out on your own. Every body is unique, and only a doctor can assess your real need. What you can and should do is pay attention to the signs your body is already giving. If you feel burning when urinating, frequent urges to rush to the bathroom, pain in the lower abdomen, or notice that your urinary infections keep coming back even after treatment, this may be an indication that your vitamin intake is unbalanced. In that case, the best step is to talk to a healthcare professional. Share this information and ask, could this vitamin be harming me? Another important point is not to fall into the self-medication trap. Many people increase their dose on their own, believing they're boosting their immunity, but in reality, they're just increasing the risk of bladder irritation. Remember, the secret is balance. Instead of thinking more is better, think the right amount is enough. Meanwhile, you can focus on habits that ease the pressure on your bladder. Drink water regularly. Avoid excessive amounts of irritating drinks like coffee and alcohol. Maintain proper, intimate hygiene and watch your diet. These simple measures strengthen the body and reduce the risk of recurrence. Now you see why I said at the beginning that a vitamin considered innocent by many could be sabotaging your health. Recurrent urinary infection isn't just about bad luck or fate, but often the result of choices we make without realizing. The secret is balance. Not everything that seems healthy really is. And this warning could be the turning point for you to finally break free from the cycle of pain, burning, and sleepless nights. I want you to take one clear message. Taking care of your bladder means taking care of your freedom. Because only those who have felt the desperate urge to rush to the bathroom every half hour or the burning pain when urinating, know how much it steals from your quality of life. And if the right information can free you from that suffering, then don't ignore it. Now it's up to you. If this video made sense, if it opened your eyes to something you hadn't noticed before, don't leave without helping me with two things. First, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and every click on that button is a step toward bringing this knowledge to more people who need it. Second, leave your comment below writing, "I choose my urinary health." I need at least 100 comments so that YouTube will deliver this video to more people who suffer like you. And of course, don't leave just yet. Right here on the screen, another video is already appearing that will complete this knowledge and may be exactly what you need to watch right now to take the next step in caring for your health. Click and keep going with me on this journey.